Hi there, welcome back to another Small Rambles video with me, writer and mental health advocate Tobe Allen. I'm also one half of the BARROW Podcast, the show I do with my mum, where we discuss divorce, dysfunctional families, and mental illness while writing a memoir together. On the very latest episode of the podcast, we were discussing abandonment wounds. I'll link it right here. And on the episode, I was reflecting on my own sort of internalized abandonment or internalized rejection stemming from abandonment, and how quickly abandonment and feeling abandoned returns to me even now, which is something I'm working on, something I struggle with and I try to deal with. It doesn't really take all that much to set it off, which is perhaps strange, but then maybe not. But just something as simple as being alone, like being left alone in a house overnight, finding myself in a situation where I am, by myself, really sparks a feeling of being abandoned, which is, as I say, maybe strange, maybe not. It seems a little strange to me because it's like, well, you're just alone. You're not being abandoned. No one's leaving you. And yet that's the feeling that gets brought back up. So if I'm by myself in my own company, I start to feel rejected. And that is something that, if anything, it's probably gotten worse, if I'm honest with you. I don't fully understand it. I think we did a pretty good job of kind of excavating it and getting into it and making sense of it. But yeah, it continues to linger, and it's something I really would like to vanquish. I would really like to get rid of it. But yeah, it's an ongoing thing, which brought to mind generally kind of my vulnerability in doing this project overall. It's unpleasant to think of yourself as being vulnerable and to sort of acknowledge and concede your vulnerabilities. But it's also, the process that we're going through is also making me vulnerable as well, emotionally, and obviously putting this stuff out publicly. There's some anxiety that comes with that as well, which I'm sure I've touched on in the past. But one of the unique aspects of doing this project has been viewing your past self. And Mum and I have sort of gone back, and we did it a little bit in the episode as well, of like looking at me as a child, and there were a few incidents that we kind of like fleshed out. And it is really hard going back and seeing your past self. I've had access to materials in the research phase for the memoir, and I've seen my child self being written about by other members of my family. And that's a pretty confronting and disorientating experience, to see your past small self and really come to an understanding of how vulnerable you were in the past. And that's tough. It's sort of, because it's you, it's me. So I'm looking back at myself, but I'm also looking back at an entity that I'm kind of disconnected from too. Like, I'm looking at this like little boy as well. So that has been really, really quite confronting. And I think the examples we gave during the episode were like the Where's Dada story, which was something I was saying a lot after my father left, and just really coming to terms with how entrenched that abandonment was and is. And yeah, just the full weight of it, or the reality of it, really sunk in doing that episode. And in the research phase leading up to that episode, and the research phase that I've been doing for the memoir itself, it all just kind of like, it was very heavy. It all sort of came together and it was quite heavy. Yeah. I've done a previous Small Ramble video on the culture of family photos in my family, which I'll link right here. And this was another thing that came up in the recent episode, was like, there was this incident that occurred where my father left a few weeks before my third birthday, and for my third birthday I was given a rocking horse. And long story short, he ends up coming to pick me up for my birthday and coming inside the house against his wishes. He doesn't want to come inside the house, and also he's been missing since he left, so he just sort of appears. And Mom wants him to come in, and I have a distinct memory of this. And then there is also photographic evidence, and memory plus evidence probably those things have combined a little bit for me. But anyway, what ends up happening is mum takes a picture of me sitting on the rocking horse and my father standing beside me. And if you go back and look at the photo, which I'm not going to share, but it's pretty awful to look at, and it's haunting because it's capturing this moment in time where things are going really, really wrong. But there is also this kind of like robotic determination to take a picture of this in a that's what you do on someone's birthday kind of a way. And it just brought up a lot of things. I mean, this is one of those core memories or moments in the story of my life and my family's life as it relates to our emotional culture, I guess. And the thing about it is that it's a moment of extreme repression. My father doesn't want to be there, but he's there anyway. He comes in, he doesn't want to come in. I'm distraught and upset, but I'm sat and posed for a photograph. And mum, who is distraught and upset, still takes the photograph anyway. And looking back on that, it's amazing to me how repressed people's feelings were. You know, everybody should have been too upset to take that picture. And Mum and I also touched on sort of appropriate versus inappropriate reactions and emotions. Like, what are you taking a photo for in that moment? Like, why is that your top priority? And for mum, always it's like doing the job, a sense of duty, getting the task done. Okay, it's a birthday, so we take a photo, snap. Not, I feel terrible, forget, the whole thing's off, the birthday's off, it's all off, like my life's over. So how people feel and what they do often don't match and never matched growing up. And that has really sort of, you know, that's had a lasting effect on me, and it's made sort of navigating life pretty difficult and uncomfortable. And so that photograph is like one of those strong pieces of evidence, one of those strong pieces of like research materials that I stumbled across where I'm just like, oh my God, you know, this is awful. Like, everybody here is so unhappy and so repressed and so, you know, so that was hard too. And that's related to what I was just saying previously about that, stumbling upon your vulnerability and stumbling upon versions of your past self and facing that, confronting that. I don't know how many people have to go through things like this, but or put themselves through something like this, but certainly that has been a really unique and difficult aspect to doing this project so far. So I encourage people to check out that episode. I thought it was a really good one. And yeah, you know, this is difficult, confronting stuff at times, but we're doing it. Here we are. So go check that one out. If that sounds interesting to you, obviously go and check out the Barrow podcast. You can find links and further information in the description to today's video, as well as on the homepage to this YouTube channel. And as always, feel free to comment if you've got something that you'd like to share, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.